Welcome to this month's episode of The Breeze. We are doing our second Zoom show and fighting through some technical difficulty, but I think we're all right now. And today we've got a very interesting topic to talk about. We're going to talk about some of the challenges faced and how we personally have changed and what we like and what we may not like about the way we've changed. So without further ado, let's bring in the experts, Margie Bruiser and Tina Thompson.
Hi.
Hey.
Yes, everybody.
Tell me, Tina, you're a very optimistic person, and you've been through this pandemic stuff with the rest of us. And what do you like about the way you've handled things and changed, and what do you dislike?
Well, what I like is that I'm enjoying being with myself more, trying to be creative in the things that I do, my projects, taking care of my home, and also, like I said, reconnecting with old friends for various reasons. But I think what I've been also enjoying is cooking more, which is not something I really like, but trying to plan things that I can enjoy and doing something a little different, but also relying on some of my friends with suggestions on what I might make that's easy, because I am not really a good cook.
Well, we'll have to be the judge of that when you invite us over, okay?
Yep.
When you're ready to do that.
We'll meet at the park.
Well, how about you, Margie? What you've been doing that's different?
Well, I think I'm more like a sloth. I have lost a lot of my ambition. I spend way too much time doing nonsense activities, like competitive games on my iPad, watching TV, perhaps watching too much news. I've begun to have to move away from that somewhat. And spending too much time inside, using the hot temperatures as an excuse not to go for a walk. But I've also learned that I need to set a schedule. I need to set goals for each day, for each week, so I don't end up just, okay, this is a couch potato and she's going nowhere. I have to take care of myself. Health-wise, I'm not depressed about doing not much. It seems to fit me, and that's the scary part in a way. I've got to get up and out, and I'm eager for when that will come, and I can resume more physical activity, see people, hug people, and meanwhile, I need to plan a track to get there and not just continue where I am, because I recognize it could go on for a while.
Well, I think it's interesting in that, you're rocking along in your retirement. You've adjusted to the retirement lifestyle. Things come up all the time and you do them. You go out to eat, you see friends, you play golf, you play whatever, you sing, you go to clubs. And when that sort of dials down, then you have to sort of, as you put it, Margie, you have to reset your whole attitude, because you can't just do stuff spur of the moment. You got to consider, how's that going to affect me and so on. And you end up doing a lot, as you put it, a lot of nothing. And, that could be bugging or depressing. And I find myself in somewhat the same situation. I've always been very active here, doing various things. Yeah. And when you have a lot of downtime, it's kind of not debilitating, but somewhat depressing. So you got to get through that. You guys agree?
I'm sorry. One of the things that I found in that equation, Doug, too, is my work life. Do I want to go back to work, or do I want to continue kind of in a lifestyle, having that freedom? Because, the two of you have a freedom that I don't have, which is a part of that schedule, Margie, that you were talking about. And one of the jobs took care of that for me, and I still have another one that's been, constantly saying, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? And I'm kind of saying to myself, what do I really want to do? Do I want to go back and be in that schedule? Is it something that I really need to do? And I really have not really finalized that decision.
Okay. Well, Margie, Tina, let me say this. We've all learned to be a little bit more careful. We've been more careful and conscientious in our decision making. And is that a positive thing to take away from all this? Is that we're going to lead a better lifestyle, perhaps, or is it a negative thing?
I think it's positive. I think it allows us a time to really examine where we are. What do we want to do? I put off doing some things just because I wanted more relaxation. When I'm overdosed on relaxation now, when I really need to think from a health, excuse me, from a health standard, from a desire, from a good use of time, what should I be doing without overly expecting? I don't think I can jump back into anything. I think it's a way of just kind of gradually seeing where our fit is as we go forward.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's true, Margie. I kind of agree in that. I think it makes me more conscious of my decisions. Before, you were spontaneous perhaps, and now it's more of a, is that what I really want to do? And should I do it? And how I'm going to do it? Planning, my trips out, trying to make them multi-purpose and not just go to the store like you like to go to Food Lion. Not just going to Food Lion, but maybe
Another
going
Food Lion commercial.
yeah.
Another Food Lion commercial.
In fact, I thought I saw you yesterday.
You did.
But it's the kind of thing when you just go out, I plan 3 or 4 stops rather than just one.
Okay. So you're thinking of being a lot more efficient, and that's a real positive development.
Yeah.
Efficiency, determination. You think through things a little bit more.
Yeah.
And, I like the spontaneous thing, the spur of the moment thing as much as anybody. And some of my most joyful moments have come out of spur of the moment or spontaneous decision making. And I kind of miss that. And nobody else seems to be eager to get back into that sort of, carefree way of life.
Well, another thing I've discovered is that I don't laugh.
You don't laugh?
I'm not out and about, and I'm chuckling this morning and it feels good. I'm not one that will turn on a funny TV show and sit there and laugh. I will just watch it. And I think I miss that spontaneous laughter. And, I do my best to smile when I'm out, because I think if our eyes can be seen, there's some kind of a message there. But it's not the same. I can't stop and chat with these people and say, boy, can you believe the condition of this broccoli this week? Or just kind of, it's different. And, I have a pet, and although that's good company, it's not a human to talk to. I'm not saying I mind being alone, but I miss the opportunities to go out and laugh with people.
I'm waiting to see a picture of you and your guinea pig on Facebook.
Maybe I'll bring one to our next Zoom meeting.
I'll tell you, gals, that I understand what Margie's saying. I think a very important part of this is your sense of humor and your ability to cope with challenges which you never thought you would face certainly not in your retirement life, and to go forward. People of a younger generation, there was a recent publication I read, they asked, what have you learned? And some of these younger folks, one said that live life to the fullest every day. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. And
I think they've been doing that.
Well, certainly, and that's a positive thing, is that, seize the day, carpe diem, however you want to talk about it, you need to think about living life rather than avoiding life. How's that for profound?
Very
That's
profound.
profound.
You just have to
But for,
draw that fine line as to when you
yeah,
overstep it, and that's sometimes the difficult piece.
yeah,
But yeah, we still have to find our joy. We don't want to become a recluse. I'm really, I thought often about the people that have no choice. We have choices. We
yeah.
are not in a facility where nobody can visit us. I mean, I don't know that I would make it there. And so I choose not to complain. We have it pretty good. And we
You know
can
what
walk out our houses with a sense of
yeah,
freedom
yeah.
and enjoy Sun City, even if we don't go beyond the gate. And I sometimes catch myself saying, quit feeling sorry for yourself. You're really very fortunate.
You know what I started to do the other day, Doug? You guys would appreciate being that you're wine drinkers, is to put my little table out, get a bottle of wine, and just sit out there and drink. And I still may do that, but and as my neighbors parade by, I'll just wave, you know? I
Yeah,
think,
do what you can to be positive. Well,
yeah,
ladies, I went out on the streets and talked to some residents and got some interesting responses when I asked them, what they thought what changes they had noticed in themselves, what they thought was positive and negative. So let's take a look. During this past 6-month period, have you learned anything about yourself, good or bad? How have you changed? And also, can you take any positives away from this experience?
Well, I think one of the changes that's a negative for me is I'm eating a lot more cake and ice cream, hoping to still fit through the doorway when this is all over. A positive is I've always loved gardening and I'm doing a lot more. Going for longer walks with my dog several times a day. Of course, there's no travel, and our big exciting part of the week is going grocery shopping. We are trying to social distance as much as possible, and I'm looking forward to when we can do things socially with people once again.
So we just moved in right as everything got closed. So we really don't know what it is like with that being closed. So it was good in a way because we got to know the neighborhood. We walked a lot because there was nothing open. So we walked and waved to people and saw how beautiful this place is without entertainment and clubs and stuff. Did it change us? Yeah, you sort of kind of learn to live within your household and within your family, and hopefully we will learn what Sun City has to offer.
Is there any positives?
I think you appreciate what life has been. I don't think it's ever gonna be the same as it was before. I think it's gonna take a long while, and we just gotta accept it the way it is.
So I think I've become more cognizant of people and recognition of their space, and I've also done a lot of counseling with my daughter to help get her through the trials. She lives in New York City, and the crowded streets there have been very frustrating for her.
Well, changes in ourselves. It's we're just I got closer to my husband because we had to stay together all the time, and so that was a good thing. And what can we take? Like, we shouldn't take anything for granted now that we have learned that we're living in such a fragile society, and we have to do the best we can. So living in Sun City was a great thing. We have wonderful neighbors, and we stayed close and we socialized. We haven't stopped socializing, which it helped us mentally. Because I'm thinking that if COVID doesn't kill us physically, it's going to kill us mentally. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Well, they had some interesting things to say, and I think that anybody that's been through something like this, it's like it can be a bonding experience in some respects. Mm-hmm. In other words, if you've ever gone through a fraternity hell week, the whole idea is to take some disparate personalities and bond them together and give them a sort of a singular purpose. And you know, you can do that during a pandemic if you just look at it as a bump in the road and something that will bond together and take something positive out of it. What do you think?
Well, I'm looking forward to some short travel trips. And in fact, my buddy down in Florida, I didn't realize you could go to the Bahamas on a ferry for a couple of hours. You go down to Miami, so I can get down there and then we can go over and spend the day and come back and just have a good time. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that kind of thing. And it's not, it's still kind of going close to home because right now I would like to stay close to home. And
Yeah.
then going, once the fires have subsided, which is really scary, I want to go to the coast of Santa Barbara, that area, Central Coast, and do some wine tasting.
Right.
I'm making plans.
Well, good. Yeah, that's another fun thing to do is that, you know, the cruise lines are still sending out brochures, even though they may never start up again. But, you know, looking forward to stuff, you know, planning. I mean, that's something we've missed is planning because we know we have been in a situation now for 6 months where plans never happen, so to speak. You know? You can't
Or
plan
plan deferred, yeah.
you can't visit somebody and you know you can't go on a cruise, you can't do this and that, and that's kind of depressing. But now it's a situation where we think you know let's start planning for the future. Let's be positive about this.
Yep.
I think that's important. Set our sights on what will be, and it will be eventually. You know, I'm sitting here thinking, I love to entertain guests. When this is over, I would like to have neighbors come in on a regular basis and just, what do they say, break bread around the table and get to know people better, rather than cook for myself like I'm doing now, like you, Tina. I'm a pro at crock pot cooking now. Of course, I don't mind eating the same thing 4 nights in a row, and sometimes I've shared with the neighbor.
I do. Yeah.
But, you know, to me, it becomes an activity that I like and I benefit from. So I can share that with others.
Yeah.
But we have to be forward thinking. We can't get like mired down in the mud here that, oh my gosh, we're next year at this time, we better not. No, we have to keep an up attitude in some way. And again, come back to be grateful that we are in the situation we are in compared to so many.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this question, and I know we've had to make changes in our lives. What changes would you like to see continue?
I like the social media aspect continue. I've been enjoying seeing some artists online. And when I have a chance, I think I'd like to do one of those drive-in concerts. I think that would be kind of cool.
Okay.
Yes. And I think too, we had talked together about having the virtual physician visits.
Yeah.
And how efficient that can be in a lot of circumstances. And I hope that will continue.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, there's a couple of interesting things. Are you going to wear a mask the rest of your life?
Well, if I need to, yes, but I'm hoping they may become a little more creative with comfort, and that we'll be able to sport them more and for longer periods. It's they can be uncomfortable, but yes, if need be, yes.
Okay.
I've been buying masks like I buy the grocery bags. I probably have over 20 masks, all different kind of designs.
Well, you can
So
make,
I'm finding comfort in and making light of the fact that if I have to wear the darn things, again, I want to be fashionable. So, you know, what about you, Doug? What have you seen?
I don't wear a mask unless I absolutely have to, and I think it's sad that people wear masks out in public. It depresses me to think that we've become a fearful group of people.
So that's one thing you would say that you don't want to keep. But what would you like to see stay?
Well, I would like people to continue to be considerate of your space. I would like people to understand that, not everybody's in the same place as them, and respect the rights of people who may be having some difficulties that you're unaware of and that you can respect. I would like us all to become more cognizant that we're all one, and that, we've got troubled times all over the country and all over the world, but it's not something you have to complain about 100% of your waking hours.
Yeah.
That's
Boy,
what
I
I,
like that, Doug, what you just said. That really almost sums it up. You know, there's a story behind every one of those masks, and
True.
we don't know those stories.
Right.
And we have to approach them like they may be having the worst day in their life.
Mhm.
And maybe that nod, maybe that smile in the eye, maybe that is, how are you doing today? People need to know that they're acknowledged. And maybe that's something I need to practice more when I'm out and about.
But Margie, there's nothing wrong with asking, what are you doing to help the change? If you're unhappy with something, I think that we need to address the fact that, how are you participating in making the change? I think that's a fair question. Because
Right.
just to be an M, I mean, anybody can do that. But to make change makes an effort.
Well, I think it's fair to say that a lot of people, I guess the word is feel put upon, and why me and blah, blah, blah. And to change that, to flip that attitude into what you're talking about is what positive things can I do to make changes to make the world better? Not the world, but maybe your own personal world. Is something we can take away from this as a positive, in that, in the past, maybe we just thought life's a breeze or life's a bitch or whatever it is. Now we can consciously consider what we need to do to make it better.
And we all have that opportunity within our center of influence, because within our center of influence, if there's something in that center that you would like to help change, then here's a chance to try. And also to make that decision to divest of that situation or individual if necessary. And I don't have a problem in doing that.
Okay, good. And Margie, you're always looking for good, better, best, so I don't worry about you.
But let me share something else that came to mind. Can you see these three words?
I can see two.
Sympathy, empathy, and apathy. We have a choice of how we are going to respond to people. Sympathy is probably the word that we know what that means. We send cards to people who have lost someone, and it's a sympathy card. But sympathy, there's differences here. Sympathy is feeling pity and sorrow for someone else's misfortune. Empathy is the ability to imagine being in that situation. Put yourself in the shoes of others. Apathy is, I don't give a darn. Indifferent or lacking emotion and lack of interest. So if we can be sure that we stay with the sympathy and the empathy, I think empathy is pretty, it's better it's easier for me, I think, because imagining being in their chair, imagine what might be going on behind that mask. It kind of can stop me a little bit and take away what might have been a negative thought.
But in that empathy, you also have to remember not to take that burden, if you perceive it as a burden, upon yourself.
That's correct.
Well, Margie,
Yeah,
you're talking like a social worker.
Yeah.
Once a social worker, always a social worker.
Well, I hope that our viewers will give us some feedback on this, but I think that we're in a situation where we can make choices, and hopefully there'll be good choices. We can take some positives out of the ways we've had to change and how we go forward. And I look forward to next month when we can sit down together and maybe, we'll Zoom it again, maybe not, but we hope to get together next month when we again shoot the breeze.
Yes.